Hola Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. You guys know the drill. If you're new here, don't forget to smash the likes and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 3K. Support the pod by supporting our sponsors, Manscaped. Go check them out, LBI20, to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. Obviously, the pioneers of below the waist grooming for men, but they have one of the biggest, widest catalogs of cosmetics for men, lingerie for men, you name it, boxers, trimmers. Um, they are just pretty much very well stacked, especially when it comes to basically anything for men. So go check them out, and if you have a special someone, your dad, brother, someone, this might be the perfect occasion to gift them, something from Manscaped. There is stuff even as low as $10. So, any contribution to the channel goes a long way. Goes a long way in keeping us afloat. This is something that we do on the side. We really don't make this a full-time thing. Unfortunately, because of how our schedules are and whatnot. Also, go check out fanatics.com, one of the widest, biggest collection of sportswear apparel. They have huge partnerships with La Liga, Real Madrid, to name a few. I'm not sure about the Premier League, but stuff like NFL, NASCAR, etc. So, go check them out. Use our affiliated link, vanity link, to basically let them know that you guys came through us. So, they have site-wide offers, from week to week. It might vary. Sometimes it's like 25% off. Sometimes it's like free shipping. Go check them out and, show them some love, show us some love. And let's move on to, the business at hand. Talk to me more. Balaidos away has historically been a tricky affair, right? Like while I was growing up, and obviously while you were growing up, it would have been a lot more of a sketchy trip out to Galicia. But as of late, I think since 2014, we haven't really lost a game there. We have had their number for quite a bit, but we always know heading into a match day against Vigo, especially at the Balaidos, is never going to be easy, never going to be straightforward, and it wasn't the case again tonight.
Yeah, man, completely agree with you. I think you brought out the stats. I am not completely up to date to them, so I wouldn't have anything to say about that. But like overall, we expected a tough game. Previous seasons have shown that this game is never easy. So definitely Real Madrid couldn't take this one, especially given the fact that this was coming off the back of the international break. So the FIFA virus is always haunting over us. Whenever you come back from an international game, I remember when Ancelotti first came back, I think it was 22, and we played Espanyol. So, and I think we lost. We lost them. So you never know what to expect, especially in October, coming back off the back.
That's one of the worst games I've seen in my life. Espanyol away, right? Away.
Yes, Espanyol away. So you never know what to expect, and this game kind of lived up to it. The good thing was like we came away with 3 points. At one point in time, I wasn't sure about that. I think Courtois definitely had a blinder. I saw at the end of the game that they gave Mbappe the man of the match, but I thought that Courtois would have been my pick. Overall, you take the 3 points, move on. A tricky fixture, you got out of it, so you just thank whatever you want to, whoever you want to thank, and then just move on.
Especially when you mention thank whoever you want, I'm pretty sure people like me would be worshipping more than one god at this rate, because this season has been really a chore. I don't know about you, Mo. Yes, there were some. Obviously, this is one of our better games this season, but like for me, it really comes down to the point where I don't enjoy watching us. Is it a me problem?
No, man, it's like it's an everyone problem, I think. Honestly, like this season has been pretty disjointed.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's kind of like beating a dead horse, but we just talked about the midfield changes and everything.
But we can't. I know. We speak about it every week.
Yeah, even coming into this season, like despite that, I didn't expect this to be this bad. So
that's the thing.
This has like sort
last
of
season without a striker, weren't we better? is my question.
I mean, for me, the thing is like even last season there were stretches where we kind of felt like disjointed, but the good thing was like the midfield was working, so the ball always got forward and like we were creating
Yeah.
chances and everything. This season it's like it's a chore. Like it feels like it is physically taxing for them to get the ball out, and when they do get the ball out, the forward
Yeah.
line always kind of messes it up. So what I want to say was the fact that I expected a little hiccups at the start of the season. I wasn't expecting us to be buttery smooth or anything like that, but like
Yeah.
from what I expected, this has exceeded expectations. So this has been even worse. I totally did not expect like the Real Madrid coming into October to be this. But the thing that I always want to fall back on is the fact that, like we were talking in 22, Espanyol, the same thing happened. We were kind of like going sharply into how bad Real Madrid were. But the season turned out pretty well. So, I mean, I do have hopes, but the midfield is like totally disappointing.
That's what I fall back on as well. Come the crunch games, especially at the turn of the year, Jan, Feb is when we really sort of always click into gear. But yeah, the signs that really bothers me are like what you pointed out, especially our stop-start rhythm deep in games, where yes, we are a team that historically, especially recently, starts game slow. We take our own time feeling out the opponents, feeling out the pitch, sorting ourselves out, and then we go for the kill, which I'm accustomed to, which you're accustomed to, which so many of us are. We're pretty well in on the script already. But what really makes my most sacred moments in life, especially that is referring to watching my team, a chore, is what you mentioned, how bad we are in transition. We were a team that was so adept at countering at speed. Now we look like a team that is really a bunch of individuals that go for the Hail Mary, like what I used to call Farouk's terminology overrated because it had an agenda behind it, right? I felt like, but now more often than not, I resonate with that so much. It's almost like everyone is basically going for the jugular and hoping that something comes off. Mbappe's goal, I mean, brilliant piece of finishing by him, and definitely a very clever instinctive finish. Basically, you can't take anything away from it. But then again, you basically think back about how it, what preceded it. You kind of again is brought down back to earth, knowing that Fran Beltran basically dug his own grave up. He basically gave that to he served that to us on a silver platter. I really wonder, like how much can this team get better over the course of the season? Obviously, when the stakes get higher, we might get better, but yeah, I'm a bit more pessimistic than maybe you might be.
For me, the only good thing is like I don't know. The only way seems to be up. Like I don't know how much deeper.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. So for me, the thing is like something I don't doubt is the fact that all these players are talented. The 11 guys who are representing Real Madrid on the pitch, like at every match, they are incredibly talented players. So I don't doubt the individual quality. I mean, Farouk, I think if Farouk was here at this point, he would say you don't doubt the individual quality, but the team cohesiveness is not there. I would have to completely agree at this point, because the midfield isn't working, and once the midfield stops working, the chances aren't created. I think we were doing the preseason preview, yeah. And we kind of talked about this, and I remember you mentioned that last season we created the most chances in Europe. I don't know where we rank at this point of time. This season.
From open play, more.
There was a stat like that was displayed during the game. I said like Courtois had made 3 saves and their goalkeeper had only made 1 save. So I kind of thought that stat spoke for itself. Whenever we do end up getting the ball forward, somehow our forwards, they mess it up and the ball is lost, even when it feels like a chance can be created or something like that. And going the other way, sometimes I kind of feel like our midfield is lost defensively. For the goal, I'm sure we're going to discuss it. Lucas Vazquez, we talk like everybody's going to point him out, but I also wanted to point out the fact that Camavinga is like completely unaware of what's going on behind him. So Camavinga and Tchouaméni are basically running in the same space, running towards the same play. Like,
but they had a fairly decent game, I thought. Camavinga and Tchouaméni up until that point.
No, I mean,
especially Tchouaméni, I was very impressed.
It's not to take away from the games that they have, but these moments, these lapses that happen. That's how you lose games. So especially, we always praise Real Madrid for because in moments they step up and perform and everything. But then when these moments are happening and you're kind of losing concentration, this is how you lose games. And if you keep on losing games this way, it's like that is how you lose titles. So Camavinga and Tchouaméni, for all the good work that they do and for all the praise that we give them, this season we've noticed they aren't exactly creative. So
they are. Man, we should find a better word more. That's putting it slightly. Yeah, I'm telling you. So not creative is not the way to go.
Yeah, I mean we haven't seen the same output.
They are barren.
Yeah,
I would say.
Modric comes on and immediately he plays a brilliant ball, and he kind of completely unlocks Celta. So the level of creativity that we have gone from, and the fact is if you aren't creative, you at least expect some defensive solidity. So on that end, I think Tchouaméni, I don't really have that many complaints, but for me on that goal, I thought Camavinga could have done better. Especially, I kind of felt like he left Lucas Vazquez high and dry. There was a lot of area for Lucas Vazquez to cover. So these kind of things, when they happen, the defense lacking cohesion and your attack isn't working. When all of these things are happening together, it's difficult to see which way this team, how this team improves. But the good thing, is the fact that if these things start clicking, if these mistakes can be improved, I think Real Madrid can be much better. Having said that, I kind of, for me, it's difficult to lay the blame on Ancelotti, because every time I come here, I've always said that I don't think this team is constructed properly. Maybe they're going to try and address it. Maybe next summer they bring in, Trent Alexander-Arnold or Alphonso Davies or whoever. But to bring in some creativity.
I don't think that'll fix this. No.
I mean, that's a different discussion. So I don't know if you want to get into it today. But I mean, I think the board is trying. I think they're looking for solutions. But the thing is, while looking for solutions, this season kind of feels lost, when you're looking at that, because Trent or Alfonso or whoever, whatever players you bring in, they're going to come next season. Winter, although we were kind of hoping that they would sign some players in the winter, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So, you kind of have to take it, and let's see what happens. But for this, if that is their plan, and for this season, this is the squad that we're going to go with, exactly as this, then you kind of have to hope that Ancelotti, somehow pulls a miracle, somehow make something happen, or the players somehow make something happen. Players are always, pulling rabbits out of their hats, and like the Mbappe goal from today, I think, that thing is this goal. If you play the game 100 times, 90 times this goal is not happening, because this is the goal that we created.
The keeper is completely caught out of position.
Yeah, so it was a fall from theirs, and we kind of took advantage of it. And this was one of the rare instances that we actually took advantage of a defensive lapse, because previous games we have even struggled with that. So for me personally, there's a lot of scope for improvement. I hope Real Madrid can do that.
My biggest concern is the fact that we come on here most weeks, right? The season has been going on for 3 months now, and whenever we come to a post match, especially my mentality has always been ever since we started doing this, and I've been heavily pelted with stones and eggs for that. My mentality of basically honing in on a particular performance we are talking about tonight, and we stick to tonight. If we got the 3 points and if we were not really sparkling all throughout the 90, I would still take away the positives and give them the benefit of the doubt, right? But as the match days fly by, I'm really struggling to see a point where you said, and I've agreed with this, and I've been a huge vocal guy who empathized with that sentiment that Carlo can only do so much. For example, today and throughout the season, where in previous instances he has been criticized for his lack of urgency with the subs and whatnot. He has really addressed that issue and tried to be a lot more proactive. Even today, his subs changed the game and basically gave us a platform to win, right? But I really wonder. We all know that tactically he might not be the best, but come on, man! He needs to motivate these these players. I know they're coming back off a very historic season where we won the double and whatnot, but these players, I think they are clearly just not hungry enough anymore. Like Mendy is one of my favorite players, right? Like he comes on the pitch immediately, he's beaten twice by Oscar fucking Mingueza, man. That just is unacceptable. Like, how is a player of Mendy's caliber, especially going the other way defensively, like he is completely taken to the cleaners by Oscar Mingueza. Even there were warning signs all throughout the first half. The first 3 minutes, 4 minutes, these guys get one-on-one chances twice, thrice. You just sit and wonder, like, how are we so shockingly off the pace, especially against a side like Celta, who are missing two of their biggest, threats in Celta. I mean, in Iago Aspas and Moriba, right? How quick on the feet can Borja Iglesias be? Like, he is a tank. Like, he is spraying passes like he's fucking Prime Suarez. Like, he's getting so much time on the ball to pick out, like, not your standard off the book, off the manual standard 5-yard link up passes, but instead he is basically improvising and playing first time over the top balls, slicing our defense in two with one single pass. For someone who is not really known for that kind of expertise, like it just goes to show, like what a team of maybe a slightly higher caliber could have done tonight. We could have really come away from this game really looking like we shot ourselves in the foot.
I think
Our team,
a couple of things we need to keep in mind is the fact that first of all, this game was after international break, so the fitness is not going to be the best. And the second thing is, like, I kind of have spoken about this previously as well. I don't think the players are like at 100% fitness. I've never actually like questioning people's fitness motivations, because for me the thing is, like, these guys they've reached the top level, so. Some of them, definitely they lose the motivation after reaching Real Madrid, and they kind of think,
they're human. They're human.
Yeah, they're human. But most of them, I know, like everybody who's like representing Real Madrid match in, match out, is like, I know that they have the utmost motivation to do themselves better. So I don't want to go there. But for me, the fitness, I don't think the fitness levels are like at top, and I kind of feel like that is what it's showing. The amount of space that we're giving opponents is down to the fact that we cannot just the players cannot like. It isn't that they don't want to, it's more like they cannot give their 100%. For me, that seems to be the issue, especially, is it mental, is it physical? I don't know, but I think it has to be a mixture of the two, because these players, they're too talented for these things to be happening regularly at the rate that they're happening this season. And if it's happening regularly, if it's happening recurrently, I kind of have to question maybe that, these guys aren't completely fit. Either is it physically or it's mentally. Maybe there's mental fatigue from the long season that they've been playing season out, or maybe something else. But whatever it is, I think that's what's affecting us, for me personally. And don't get me wrong, I completely say that there are structural issues there, and there are other issues as well. But I think this is also a part of it, of what is affecting us.
Yeah, I wouldn't question that. Obviously, like, I wouldn't shy away from that. Especially when it comes to the season we had last year. It's expected that we might be a bit sluggish, man. But come on, like, we can't have the same glaring issues, week in, week out, like, where our defenders, especially, who was such a solid. I mean, Rudiger is the only guy who's kind of been the mainstay throughout the season. Like, even he looks like he's off the pace. Like, I don't know. It's just that.
You also have to keep this in mind, right? The season ended and the Euros started. The Euros ended and the season started.
Yeah.
It was like they barely had like 10, 15 days to recover in between. So, like, sometimes I the thing is, like, it isn't a fault of their own. Like, they haven't had time to recover. And the teams that kind of play, like teams like Celta, who probably had a bigger break, they kind of seem to be fresher and more proactive. I don't know, like, if this is the issue, I don't see a break in between of the season, in the middle of the season, and so if this issue continues, I don't know how this team is going to play. They have the quality, but the quality is sometimes going to get them through, sometimes it might not. A team like Barcelona, that probably didn't have that many games last season. They went out early in the Champions League and whatnot. Like,
Don't have that many people representing at the Euros or
yeah,
Copa
towards the end of
America.
the season, like the Champions League wasn't there for them, so they kind of felt fresher. Went to the Euros, they kind of like probably managed a little bit better the transition and whatnot. So probably for them, coming to the season, they're taking advantage of it because I think even Atleti, to an extent, is kind of struggling. Even England, City isn't like they might be winning, but their performances aren't to the level that they used to be. So
Yeah.
the big things you can kind of see this trend. I think physically they aren't there at their peak performance. But having said that, you cannot entirely put everything down to physical fitness. Some of what you say probably is also true. That Real Madrid need to be more. Probably the work needs to be done on the training field to be more tactically sound. They need to implement better plans, and whatever they're learning on the training pitch is probably not translating onto the ground. So I think those areas need to be improved. Structural issues, like I kind of droned on much about, is like they're also affecting it. So yeah, it's probably a collection of issues that's working here, but obviously the physical thing, this calendar is the calendar, you can't change much about it. And the issue you pointed out, about tactics and probably working better and maybe having them translate better on the field is the only thing that Ancelotti and Co can work on.
And the lack of bodies is again, is super concerning because Militao, the moment he was kind of limping and clutching his thighs, I was like, where do we go from here, right?
Yeah.
Is Francesco gonna come in and slot in a centre back? That's the reality of the situation. Like, so I don't really get why there isn't much noise. Like, you could argue it's a market strategy to really keep it down on the low, to not really basically get teams to corner us into paying exorbitant amounts in transfer fees, right? Like, I get it, but still there should be some significant.
I kind of disagree with you. I don't think it's a market strategy. I think it's the truth. I don't think it's going to sign anyone in the winter.
It's gonna really bury us alive. I feel like more because.
There was this interesting thing that I was actually reading. Somebody mentioned it on they did a polling among the socios who kind of go and attend the matches, like let's say match-going fans, and it seems like the board thinks that they have some leeway. If they go a season without a trophy, I don't like they aren't too worried about that happening because they kind of feel like we have won a lot, so they have that in the bank, so that they can go a season. So. I don't know, maybe if you watch the documentary after we won the Champions League in 2022, something that was said was like, we didn't even try and we still won the Champions League. So they kind of feel, I kind of have the feeling that that is what the thinking is. Like, if whatever we win, it's a bonus, but it's not expected. Yeah. And, the plan is like you have to build the team the right way. You don't want to be hurried into making any purchases. They probably have an idea about how they want to, go about it, what end product they're looking at. So I think that that's what they're working towards, and the years are happening. They're counting on Ancelotti to come up with the goods, make do with whatever he has, and they'll go about building the team the way they want to. Probably reinforce the wings next season, and if they get a good center back, they kind of buy it. But honestly, like winter, I'm not expecting anybody to be signed.
I mean, that is the reality, right? Like, we all know how our club works, but I'm just praying and hoping because. I'm a huge fan of how diplomatic we are, how cutthroat we are. I get it, but fuck the diplomacy this season, man. Because like, I get to your point where if they would have run the poll and if they would have like read the room, blah blah blah, about the fact that people wouldn't be really throwing their arms up in the air if we don't really win something significant this season. I get it. We have credit in the bank, right? But imagine this scenario where we have barely any bones left at the back, right? We go into a crucial Champions League tie. God forbid Man City or someone who is really in form. Who knows by that time in March or April, right? And then we get thrashed 5-0, 6-0. You very well know that it can be a reality. Like, we sitting now here, we would never think that a match would go so left that we would come off it facing a 5-0, 6-0 battering. But that can really, again, taint a very bad image, right? On these players, on me as a fan. Like, I can't sit through shit like that.
I think
at least bare minimum.
If that happens, you kind of have to look at how they reacted previously, yeah? The game against Barcelona happened, they kind of stood patiently and wanted to see how Ancelotti went. They won the league. the season after, like against City at the Etihad, we kind of
No,
lost
but that
4-0.
happens the season after, though. More season after is another year away, right? A whole year away.
That's what I'm saying. We kind of have to look at how they reacted. So for me personally, if it's pretty bad, what they're gonna do is like they're gonna sack Ancelotti and just be like, oh yeah, we got rid of him and whatever. Now it's a fresh page. But for me, I think they are kind of prepared for the eventuality. So let's see what happens. I think like I'm getting a call, so let me just.
Yeah, go on. Take it. Let me read a few of the comments quickly. Right. Okay. Big up Ashik, he was mentioning brilliantly played. Only during the 2 goals. Yeah, that's the sad reality. He was also mentioning we could have won by a bigger margin if we had scored more goals. I mean, stop taking the piss, Ashik, man. Like, I am really, not in the mood. He was also mentioning our midfield doesn't look cohesive and there is a lack of leadership in the middle of the park. Brother, let's ship. Yeah, can't. Ashik was mentioning Rodri is a solution. I've heard some murmur regarding this more. Like, do you think it is a realistic prospect bringing Rodri in?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, me neither. It's a pipe dream that's never going to go anywhere.
I mean, even if that possibility was there, I think his ACL injury kind of takes it away.
Oh yeah. That is something that I didn't really quite think about. Yeah, that really kind of changes the whole equation. Big up Madrid TV was mentioning Mbappe, what a goal. Huge 3 points. We needed this win before the El Clasico next week, Madrid. Yeah, the El Clasico is going to be another huge eye-opener. I feel like at home, we are set for something really bad if we don't, tighten ourselves at the back, because Barcelona, especially in transition, they are a team that, we can basically undermine them all we want to. But evidence shows this season they look like a side that really has multiple weapons, especially in Rafinha and Yamal, and especially a resurgent Lewandowski as well, who is finally finding his feet again. It's going to be interesting, man, because if we don't come away from the game with, if not a win, at least a performance of some substance, we are really going to be looking at players and fans who are a bit, crying out for some sort of confidence, going into winter. But go on, Mo.
You rightfully mentioned a lot of problem areas for us, but I think you missed the big one. The fact that Barcelona are pretty good at pressing and we cannot seem to get the ball out. So, the amount of times we might end up losing the ball, and especially given the fact that Rudiger seems to be our go-to guy, who seems to always, I don't know, like for me, even in my wildest dreams, I wouldn't have Rudiger as the guy who's kind of trying to build things out from the back. So, that is what worries me. Like, what you said is like totally true. The areas that you pointed out are like definitely worth considering, but this is also a fact that I think you should keep in mind. Having said that, I think playing against a team like that, against a team like Barcelona, who kind of likes to dominate the ball, might actually work out for us, because our team on paper has like a lot of speed, a lot of verticality, so they should be able to transition counter well. So hopefully we can take advantage of one of those situations, probably do better than what we have been doing when the onus isn't on us to create something from midfield.
That's the that is the actuality, right? Like when we look at the team on the paper, it's the perfect counter-attacking transition weapon, right? Basically, pace on either side, players who can really either combine well or basically do everything on their own and unlock defenses with just their skill and pace. But what we are seeing unfold on the pitch is a far cry from what is apparently on paper. It's just another point, brilliant point that you brought up, which we don't really talk about much, is how much how many poor turnovers we have, especially in our own half, when basically we give up possession, we make unforced errors back to back, where basically Rudiger more often than not, or Thibaut has to really bail the team out. It has happened so many times this season that is again a recurring theme for how recurring reason behind how bad we have started the season. But yeah, I hope it improves, man. Especially in the Clásico, because, like you said, Barcelona isn't gonna really muck about. They're gonna go for the kill. Um, Sid, big up Sid. He was mentioning one thing is good that Carlo is making subs earlier. Last year we saw him put the subs very late into the game. Yeah, there is some praise due there, 100%. He was also mentioning there's an unbalance in the team. Ashik again, super confident. I don't know why you're drinking all this opium. I hope your kidneys can filter it out. He was mentioning we are winning the Clásico. Well, we'll surprise the peasants. There you go. Sid was mentioning Chouameni's attack to defense transition is good, but he suffers a big time with positioning while defense to attack. Yeah, I get it. It's a matter of like what Mo mentioned, where Camavinga or Chouameni. I mean, Fede is less susceptible to that. He just has this radar that is super efficient, whether it's going forward or dropping back, right? But Chouameni and Camavinga. Chouameni more often than not, because he has played a lot more significant minutes this season than Camavinga. Like, he tends to have, like you mentioned, lapses in concentration, where he's completely unaware of where he needs to be, or where he's best positioned, where he needs to be best positioned to basically thwart a counter. Tonight, I felt like he did a lot of good things right. Like he was very proactive in winning the ball back. He was aggressive out of possession. I felt like he was very eager to do the dirty work as well, which sometimes I've attributed to him negatively, where he's kind of shying away from basically sprinted back and maybe stopping a counter. Tonight, I think he was very proactive. But then again, that one moment of lapse in concentration is all you need for a good night's work to be undone. Unfortunately, big up Flame Boy. He was mentioning if Mendy repeats this performance in the Clásico, Yamal is going to kill us 100%. He's going to start back-to-back games. I'm pretty sure he's going to start the Dortmund fixture as well, so he'll have a bit more time to basically get his confidence back. But yeah, man, Mendy this season is again another concern. Like, I would back him to the hill. I've been one of his staunchest supporters, and even I'm running out of leeways to give him. This is high time we fix how we position ourselves in defensive transitions. That starts with Mendy, our biggest defensive stalwart, right?
I think losing Cruz has kind of negatively impacted Mendy, because Mendy now it's demand of him to be more proactive in the attack, so he has to join attack a lot more. And that transition isn't there. That you kind of have to make once you're a fullback that's kind of like riding high up, because we lack creativity from the midfield. There is no defense, there is no cover for him in attack. So when he has to join in the attack, the defensive positioning kind of gets lost. So for me, that's a big issue. I think losing Cruz has not only affected the fact that we weren't able to crowd out the midfield, but also impacted how well Mendy could do his defensive duties. So, but the thing is, it is what it is. You kind of have to figure a way out of it.
100%. Very good point. I've touched upon this, and we all have touched upon this a few times, but not maybe as much as how much we praise Cruz offensively, right? Like his defensive IQ, especially at the tail end of his career, was sublime. Like the infamous, there are no more legs in this midfield, right? Like, he shut me up, right? In a single season, he completely turned it around, especially after Casemiro left. The way Cruz kind of anchored the base part of our midfield was phenomenal, and that we are actually getting to see how much of a miss even in that aspect he is. But yeah, man, this midfield lacks creativity. Lacking creativity is one thing, right? I would probably, in my mind, if I was playing Football Manager, I would look at guys like maybe I don't know, Dani Olmo in an ideal world, or Fabian Ruiz to kind of fix that to an extent. But then again, we are leaking goals. We're not scoring enough goals. We're not creating enough chances from open play. At the same time, we are leaking more goals and more high percentage chances than last year. So it's an issue going both ways. Like I hope our very glorious coaching staff can find an answer.
Yeah, I
Go
think
on, Mo.
that's the thing. It kind of draws back to the fact that we have structural issues. If you kind of fix the structure, a lot of these issues will get fixed. And we once I think once that solution happens, we will be wondering why it was this simple. Why did it take so long? But I think the thing is like there is probably a simple fix, and if it gets like if it clicks into place, I think this team will be much better because what you and I cannot deny is the fact that all these players, like all these level players, are incredibly talented.
Jude Bellingham, for instance, Mo. Like I I was I was really crying out for him to get his plaudits early parts of last year, remember? And you guys were rightfully pointing out he is not really playing in his best position. We are not really utilizing what he's all about, right? Like this season, he is more about basically enabling the team to excel, right? But I think it is coming at a personal cost, especially for him. He cuts a very frustrated figure. He just really doesn't get the flowers, especially from his teammates. I feel like on the pitch, like we saw that outburst. It's normal. It's normal. Like while I was seeing it, I could understand why he felt that, and then I also could understand why Vinny went for the shot, and etc. etc. Right? But I feel like Jude Bellingham puts in so much work throughout the 90 that when it comes to crunch moments in games, the team really don't look towards him. Where last season he used to arrive in such great positions, he would always be on the end of good things, right? Now it's a one-off. You barely see Jude Bellingham.
The thing about that is the fact that okay, imagine the situation. Winnie has the ball up front, and Jude is coming in from he's making that late run. Last season, because of the way our midfield was, the way our midfield worked and the pace at which they were able to get the ball out, when Vinny had the ball, he had a chance of making that pass. This season, because of how slow we are in possession, by the time Vinny gets the ball higher up, he already has like three people, surrounding him. So the ability to play that pass isn't there. And once situations like what happened today happen, when Vinny's completely make something happen out of nothing. When that situation happens, obviously Vinny's going to take the shot, right? You said you kind of understood why Vinny took that shot. So if I was in Vinny's situation, although probably I can't, even juggle a much bigger ball like Vinny does. But even if, let's say, a miracle happened and I kind of did that, if I'm in that situation, I'm still taking the shot. I'm not kind of looking for a Jude Bellingham and see where he is. So it's kind of understandable. And I think the issue is like I said, it's structural, and there's going to be a simple fix. And when that fix happens, everybody's going to be like, oh man, this was so simple. Why didn't you think of this earlier? But the thing is, arriving at that, it kind of takes time. So you just have to like you said, it's down to our coaching staff to figure out how to make that happen.
Sid was mentioning the reason for Jude's performance is because of his change in position. Like I get the change in position is what is best for this team given the current circumstances. But I really feel like, man, Mbappe, for all the accolades he has really earned himself over the years, in this team he really looks like an odd one out. I really want him to succeed. I've mentioned, I've been pretty vocal about the fact that it's very hard for me to root for him, right? But I really want him to succeed if my team wants to be where they want to be, right? That is the biggest reason why I want him to succeed. But then I see days like this, or days like in Lille, where there is a severe disconnect between what he is trying to do and what really comes off. Even Rodrigo, right? Like he tried to get into the game. He came on. I get it. He had a stinker. Rodrigo, I'm his biggest fanboy. He is my baby, right? But he did absolutely nothing this game, right? He didn't really attract any attention from the defenders opening up space for Vinny or Rodrigo, nor did he combine well with them. But the very first moment, Rodrigo kind of tries to take on the man. Like, if you remember more, Mbappe's through on goal, and he has Rodrigo coming up on his right, basically, a potential 1v1. If he's quick enough, and if his feet work, if his footwork is basically a bit more well aligned to the situation, probably Rodrigo could have converted that into a higher percentage chance, right? But the moment Rodrigo he loses the ball and tries to improvise, and the defender next the ball of him, immediately Vinny and Mbappe throws their arms in the air. Like I've seen this with Cristiano, I've seen this with Gareth Bale. Not so much maybe Benzema, but it really goes to show this team really has to mature up a bit. I feel like because me in that position would really be, my confidence will be really undermined if my teammates immediately, my first touch coming into the game, they see me trying to give them an assist, convert this chance, it doesn't come off immediately. They're frustrated, they're throwing their arms in the air. Like I expect better.
So the thing
in my opinion.
So the thing is, like, if we as fans are kind of looking at from the outside and thinking, okay, there's a frustration with Rodrigo. The thing isn't like it isn't as much a frustration with Rodrigo as the fact that nothing is working. Okay,
that is probably 100%.
So,
like I'm not saying.
Okay, let me give you an example, right? You saw the second goal. Modric played a brilliant pass, and Vinny kind of takes advantage of it and scores a goal. The thing is, like, everybody sees that, but what people don't see is the fact that Mbappe makes a run that drags the center back with him and opens up that space for Vinny to run into, right? So the thing is, like, was Mbappe not doing that before? He was doing it, but the ball wasn't coming. So the thing is, like, this issue isn't about, like, this player, that player, this player, that player. The thing is, like, this team isn't filled with complementary pieces. When we kind of like signed Jude, I kind of made this point. We have a similar guy, a guy who can do similar things in Fede Valverde, and we're gonna sign Jude Bellingham. Right now, what we have is like we have two players who are incredibly physical. Well, not two players, we have three players who are incredibly physical. We have Camavinga, we have Fede Valverde, and we have Jude Bellingham. Okay, there are certain differences between them. They're not exactly the same. Jude Bellingham, incredible going forward, incredible on the ball. His touch is brilliant. Fede Valverde, brilliant carrier of the ball, incredibly physical, has a lot of motor, can cover multiple areas. Even if he's starting as a midfield, he can go and cover for the right back. He goes forward, has a brilliant shot and everything. And Camavinga, like his ability to play the ball, distribute the ball is like brilliant. But the thing is, like, these guys, to an extent, if you kind of try and overlap their games, you'll see that they have a lot of similarity. And what this team is crying out for is like somebody who's a little bit different. Somebody who can be more creative, somebody who who can unlock defenses. That last season, this was covered up to a large extent because Cruz was doing all of that. But this season, Cruz isn't there, and suddenly, we are seeing that, oh man, this midfield isn't working, and everybody suddenly wants so everybody's like, oh man, let's bring in Wirtz, let's bring in this guy, let's bring in that guy. So the thing is, like, the way they have gone about building this team is probably, for me, that is the issue. And when things aren't coming off for the players, it kind of spills into frustration because Bellingham, like, I cannot fault him for anything. He's been brilliant, right? Like, he's putting in so much work to get the ball forward. He's putting in so much effort to make things happen. As the result isn't coming, it's natural to be frustrated about it. So I kind of understand why all of these guys are frustrated, but the issue is like we are missing some complementary piece for things to happen. Like I have said, there is a structural issue. Probably they're trying to look at different solutions, bringing in fullbacks who are more creative. They can offer something from the wide areas. Probably that's what fixes it. Maybe next season, but I think like this season, this issue is going to be there, and like you rightly pointed out, there's going to be frustration if things don't work out well. If a guy like Ancelotti isn't there, things can probably go wrong. But
I just wonder what we would do without Carlo.
Yeah, right? At this point, you kind of have to hope Ancelotti can keep a lid on things and make sure that everything keeps on ticking.
It's a massive oversight from our board and our recruitment team. Juni Kalafat and the boys. When you really deep it, you have a very valid point. All those guys, Fede, Jude, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, they are. Yeah, like, take away a couple of their signature traits. They're basically the same prototype, just different iterations of it. I feel like, the moment Modric sets foot on the pitch, he completely changes the game. It just goes to show, the quality just shines through 4 or 5 guys who is set to basically, quote unquote, take over this Real Madrid midfield in the next few years, right? They're already taking over. But the moment Modric steps foot on the pitch, he is head and shoulders above all of them in terms of creativity, in terms of being one step ahead in a game that is crying out for some magic. But yeah, man, I really hope we have some answers, especially in regards to creativity, because without it, our team really lacks any bite. Classico will be a big eye opener again. But yeah, before we get to some of the other comments, let's go for the ad read. Big up Manscaped, big up Doris every single time.
Hola Margueristas, I'm back once again to remind you, if you're ever looking for a way to support us, please do so and go to manscaped.com, use our code LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping. That's code LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping. Check out these thick silicone bristles. They are 100% antibacterial, no more germs hiding on your head. The bristles gently exfoliate your scalp, and the product helps reduce flaking caused by dry skin and buildup. One of the coolest features is that it helps stimulate blood flow to your hair follicles, and increased blood flow equals healthier hair, and trust me, I know I have a lot of it. Bristles also enhance shampoo penetration for more foam and less product, and with that you can also pair the 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner from Manscaped for the ultimate hair care routine. And this is a pretty big sizable thing, and let's not forget the relaxing massage that it right after a long day. Using this feels like a mini spa treatment. It's a great way to unwind while taking good care of your scalp. So yeah, go to manscaped.com, use our code LBR20 at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping. That's code LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping.
Big up Manscaped, big up Doris. You heard the woman, man. Go check out Manscaped LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. As always, super indebted to people at Manscaped for supporting true fan football movements like us over the years. They are just incredibly nice. Yeah, man, go show them some love. Show us some love. Right. More quickly, I know we are running out of time. This one last bit I would like to address. There was a slight change in positions. While the game started, it was a mixture of Chouameni basically dropping back in between the centre backs and kind of forming a line of back three, and at times Jude basically taking up a far right position or sometimes an inside right position. Especially we noticed when Modric came on, Modric was immediately slotting into the inside left, and Jude kind of flanking the right. It is kind of a remix of the experiments we have done over the last couple of years, with the 4-4-2. Sometimes it's flat, especially out of possession. Jude sometimes drifts inward, forming a diamond. Did you really think the commentators were kind of yapping about, oh, this might be the answer out of the Clasico? I didn't really feel like that. I just wanted your 2 cents, what it seemed to you
For me,
while watching the game.
I think the problem that they were trying to solve is the fact that we are that we aren't getting the ball faster out the back. So dropping Chouameni in between the center backs kind of gives him a little bit more space and time to make things happen, and takes the pressure off of Rudiger and Militao, to make things to get that pass. So I think that was the point, because previously as well we kind of alluded to this, that whenever Chouameni is kind of hurried and pressed, he kind of tends to make the wrong pass, and we kind of saw that happen in this game as well, because I remember he was like a little bit ahead of the halfway line, tried to make a pass in the second half, kind of lost the ball, and they had a chance to score on the transition. So I think that's what they're trying to counter with that one. For Jude, I think the reason why he went to the right is the fact that with Lucas, you kind of have I think the way Ancelotti looks at him at least is the fact that he's very good going forward, but maybe he isn't able to bring the same transition back into defense, and maybe Ancelotti doesn't really want to overburden Fede Valverde with the defensive responsibility, because he's also expecting a lot out of him from the attack in the midfield. So I think he kind of noticed that on the left, we already have a lot of players to make things happen with Mbappe and Vinicius and everybody. So if we kind of push Jude out to the right, maybe we could make better use of him. We kind of get a little bit more. So probably that was why he kind of pushed him in this game. And then you also have to consider the fact that he was playing with Fran Garcia this game at the left back position. So Fran is obviously somebody who kind of gives you something in attack, unlike Mendy. So I think he kind of felt like we're gonna be okay with the way that we are this season. We're kind of gonna be okay with all the three of them on the left hand. Let's try and bring out some balance and
basically kind of
try
for
and
the balance. So
try and stretch ourselves out a little.
Right. Do you think it's something that's viable for the Clásico?
I don't know, man. Like it all depends on what Ancelotti wants to do in the Clásico, because I'm pretty sure Mendy's gonna come back. You're still gonna be stuck with Militao and Rudiger and Lucas Vázquez in the other three defensive positions. What remains to be seen is like whether he starts with Rodrigo or not, because I think he's probably gonna rest Valverde and Camavinga for the Dortmund game. That's the feeling I'm getting. Maybe not Valverde. Maybe I kind of think at least one of them probably will not play. So it kind of depends on how he wants to go, and especially if he keeps on dropping Rodrigo over and over, I don't think Rodrigo is going to take it that well. So for me personally, Rodrigo is definitely going to play against Dortmund, but it remains to be seen what he does for the Clásico, I think. So if
I'm pretty sure Rodrigo's starting the Clásico.
Yeah, so if he goes with a three-man attack, I think Jude Bellingham is probably going back to the left side.
Right. Thibaut, we sing his praises almost every match day, but tonight again, if not for him, we could have been easily 2-3 goals down. He really stood tall, especially the chance from Willian. Even the chance at the death, Dovikas, I reckon he's a Greek player.
I don't know who that guy is. I was surprised. Who's the guy?
Yeah, Thibaut basically, kind of puts him off because how did he miss Mo? How does he miss that, man?
I think
I don't get it.
There was a Celta guy who did a post match and he kind of said what all that I have to say. Celta was a better team. Celta created a lot more chances, but Real Madrid had more quality, and that's why they won the game. Celta they kind of lacked the quality up front. They lacked quality in the final third, and I think Iago Aspas probably was a big miss for them. So if Aspas is there, this game has a different scoreline. Probably, it ends in a draw or they win it. But Aspas wasn't there, and thankfully for us, Courtois was. So Courtois kind of he was a big reason why we're coming up with the 3 points. Like I told you already, I don't know if it was the start of I think it was a start, right? I was surprised. Like Mbappe was the match for me. It was Courtois.
Tchouaméni, apart from his lapses kind of takes a lot of points off of him, but I felt like Tchouaméni was really good. Usually I'm very critical of him, but tonight was good.
For me as well, I think individually they weren't you couldn't point out and say, oh man, this guy was bad, this way was bad. It was more like the cohesiveness and the connection wasn't there. And for the goal, I think he kind of I was kind of wondering because all the other players are kind of marking a man and kind of get attracted to their man. And Lucas Vázquez is stuck in a position where he has to defend two people. So I kind of felt like Camavinga needs to do better. But the thing is, like, even I remember back in 22 when Camavinga first played at the CDM position against Athletic Club, I kind of said the same thing. His awareness isn't there. He's pretty good at, he's pretty good one-on-one. He's pretty good at everything else that you expect from a CDM. But that positional awareness that he needs, to know where the man is, like he doesn't have that sometimes. So, and it's kind of sad to see, like 2 years later, we're still saying the same thing for me. If Camavinga had been more aware and he knew how to position himself better, probably. But then, you also kind of have to question Lucas Vázquez. But the thing is, like, Lucas Vázquez isn't a right back. He's like, he's a converted right back. If Carvajal was there, he probably makes an executive decision and leaves the guy out wide and goes to cover the man in the center. But Lucas Vázquez is a guy who's like, he's the makeshift. He's kind of trying to get his place in the team, and he doesn't have the same rhythm. He doesn't really have that same decision-making ability that sets Carvajal, that makes Carvajal. So he kind of decided to stick with his man and left the man in the center open, and Celta Vigo took advantage of it.
But it's again, simple 1-2 to get past our final man. It's really again a glaring problem in our defensive setup, especially how turned on these guys are. But a few more of the comments before we slowly start wrapping this up. Right, Sid was mentioning the new position has given him a lot of responsibility. I think he's talking about Jude. The difference between Liga and La Liga is huge, and Mbappe is slowly realizing it. The positional play in La Liga is unlike any league in the world. He's also saying, I also feel the arrival of Kiki has undervalued Rodrigo and other forwards apart from Vinny. So I'm not a huge fan of it. Sid was also mentioning, I saw that incident too, when Rodrigo tried to cut in to pass to Vinny or Mbappe, and they reacted. Yeah, stay tuned for more of that. People are going to be really writing huge storylines based upon the back of that. I just hope it doesn't happen, in one of those high-profile losses if we have to, come across any, because people are already sharpening their knives, man. We all very well know, how much of a tight-knit unit, especially this team is, compared to yesteryears, in the dressing room. I think there is a true outlook of of a brotherhood. But yeah, when shit hits the fan, like I feel like there is a potential to unravel.
See the test of all these, the thing is, we always get these reports that, oh man, this team is their vibes, they're so friendly and everything, but the reality of it is comes out when you're under pressure.
Yeah,
for whatever reason,
that's when
these young guys have been protected a lot. The season before, it was Cruz, Cruz playing at a high level that kind of shielded them from everything. Rudiger as well. And before that, it was kind of Benzema kind of holding everything together. This is the first time that they have been given the responsibility. So let's see how they react. If this is the pressure that kind of makes them break and give in, then I don't know how much of a friendship or vibe was real. How much of that was real? Because I kind of understand the frustrations. Things aren't working, so it's obviously natural to be frustrated. But it's in times like these you kind of have to keep your cool and make things work, because guys like Sergio Ramos, like guys like Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, Karim Benzema, Cristiano, Bale, all of these guys made things happen when Real Madrid was under pressure. That's when they stuck together, and that's why we used to kind of praise those dressing rooms. I mean, definitely there were some issues, but it was way before. After Ancelotti first in, this team has always been close-knit, and even in pressure situations, they have always stayed together. So if this pressure situation is what breaks this dressing room apart, you kind of have to wonder how much of that was real. But the pressure is there, and this pressure is always going to be there when you're playing for Real Madrid, and when you are the main guys. Till the season before, there was always someone else for these young guys. Now it's it's on them. So they kind of have.
They had something to fall back on, someone to fall back on, right?
Now it's on them. Now they have to take this club forward. So
even the guys who they can really fall back on are basically on the periphery. Luka and Lucas Vazquez, they're basically outsiders at this point. Trying to carve out some minutes for themselves. So. Yeah, huge few months for so many of these players, man, and I hope they pass the litmus test, because when like you said, when shit hits the fan, I hope they stand strong. Ashik again with the unnecessary sarcasm. I would point out, we still have Ceballos. Don't worry, Madridistas, different type of midfielder. Yeah, he's a different type of midfielder. He's not good enough. That's the takeaway. But yeah, boys, that's it. Big up the live chat. Big up people who are going to tune in later on in our audio platforms. I always mention, the people tuning in later is on our audio platforms, especially on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. They're our biggest backbone. They have supported us over the years. It's truly humbling, when people tell me they have us, on their long drives, night drives, their morning routines, their gym routines, while jogging, while cooking. So it's super humbling, because we really aren't streamers per se, or celebrity, streamers, blah blah blah, you name it, influencers. We are just fans like you guys. So. It's super nice. It's super nice that our opinions get resonated in a way.
I have to stop you. You can speak for yourself, but you don't speak for Farouk. He's a celebrity. He's a celebrity.
Yeah, he's a celebrity. 100%. If Farouk has a couple of gold chains and the bling rings and a couple of CK glasses, he's gonna have a completely different outlook. So do you. So do I. So we just aren't really putting ourselves out there in the spaces we probably want to be yet, right? Like who knows down the road more. It's a good point. Farooq is already there. I'm not aspiring to be there. Maybe you are, but we'll see how
Farooq
things
is my
goes.
idol, man. Farooq is my idol.
Big up Farooq. I think he'll be back for the Dortmund preview, which already been done. So I think they pre-recorded it on Thursday. So go check it out. It'll be premiering tomorrow, guys, and its audio will be also premiering at the same time. We had the pleasure of having Ben back in the building. As you guys know, he has been with us for the last couple of seasons, if I'm not mistaken. Writer, used to be a columnist for BBC. Had the experience of working at ITV as well. Is the president of Borussia London. Go check out the preview when it drops, and show some love. But that's pretty much it, people. Again, love to our OGs Real Madrid committee. Go check them out. Link is in the description below. They're on a brilliant Real Madrid Instagram fan page. But yeah, boys, I hope I'll be back, with something a bit more positive for the Dortmund game. We really need to, go out from that on a high, especially before the Clásico. But yeah, boys, until next time, Ala Madrid.
Hola Madrid.